Does that mean we're on, or you just like to laugh at us?
Yeah, I'm laughing at Scott.
That's never happened before, has it?
So how's it going?
Pretty good. I'm still wondering, are we on?
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
sir.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're
What's
on.
your fishing? Is that a fishing tournament?
Yeah. 2014. 10 years ago, right?
Woo!
Yeah,
Bass?
I got
What y'all fishing for?
bass and striper.
Stripers. Here in Texas.
Texoma.
Texoma.
I think that's it. Yeah, it's been a while.
Welcome to the Wildlife and Fisheries channel, folks.
Yeah.
Well, we got a good one tonight, Scott.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, there's somebody I know starts every podcast. We got a good one tonight. Or that's a Today Show. It always.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna dive a little deeper into the style of training I use in the guard dog business. There's a definite difference, and I had, I learned this the hard way. I lost a couple of dogs. My background was I was a helper in all the Panhandle, Oklahoma, Albuquerque, Schützen clubs, and then I started developing my own way of making personal protection dogs, and I thought I was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But it turns out in real life, the dogs and the crooks weren't impressed, so
Right.
I wasn't that good. So anyway, these are methods that I developed over a period of time. We're going to go into a little bit of equipment usage, different ways to use these tools, but the first thing I want to emphasize to everybody is if you're doing a personal protection dog for the real world, you do not want to teach this dog to target something. And I know there's a lot of people that do what they think is personal protection, and they're teaching these dogs to target. I had dogs on the border, and we all hear about the border every day and how violent that is, right? And this one town you always hear about, El Paso. Well, that's where we were headquartered, with about 30 or 40 dogs going out every night and meeting professional thieves. And you don't want your dog to target. You do not want your dog to target. We teach them how to shift around. We teach them how to bite anything they can. This is one of the most basic ways we start them. Scott, we'll get them to turn on the movie screen. You want to narrate this one, since you're the party and
No,
no?
we both can.
Okay, let's both.
Let's start.
Go. We'll let Miss Carol Ann get. Whoops, what's she doing?
I get this one too.
Oh, get the light out. Yeah.
All right.
All right, folks, get the popcorn.
Ooh. Okay.
All right, so this is an 8-month-old Western Shepherd. This is Traveler. It's just one of our training sessions. Scott's agitating. Carol Ann's, this is her dog.
She getting her started on leg biting, and I just don't want her targeting anything, so get her sleep happy. So we started to do leg bites with her now.
Right?
Her bite's sufficient enough, and she's to the point where we need to start
Ready?
moving on, right?
Exactly.
So
Go.
We're on Geo.
she'll hit the little sleeve and boom, come up, and I'm throwing in the sleeve there, see, for the rebite.
And dogs will always try to go upstairs if you haven't just taught them to bite legs. You can see, go back a little bit. There's a couple of little things we can mention. All right, right there. Can you back that up, Carol Ann? Some of the things that we do differently. Coming up. Next one. Right as she uses them front feet, Carol Ann, in his hip. 1, 2. Now he's gonna. Okay, now all right there. This is probably the biggest thing that we do that I don't it's not done in any of the sport deals, especially in what used to be Schutzen. I don't know what IGP does today, but I know in Schutzen, if the dogs put their paws on the helper, you would actually get a deduction in points. And that's reasonable because that helper's job is to show the judge clearly the dog's bite, and when you start adding things like these jabs, I'll call them, that's could detract from the bite. So you don't ever, for work on the street, that's critical. We teach all our dogs to lead with their feet. What we want to do is, Scott's profile, which is how all good agitators work, guard dogs. If he were somebody on the street facing that dog, right now as she's grabbing his upper body, her legs, her feet would be in his gut. And we teach him to use those feet to pull. You'll see some more of that here in a minute. And if he were facing her right now, she'd be bending him over right at the waist. Mm-hmm. And once he's bent that far, where do you go from there, Scott?
Down.
That's it. You go down. So this is one of the techniques that we work for really hard, is teaching these dogs to lead with what I call a jab with those front feet. You'll see it time and time again with all the dogs we work.
If not, you'll learn real quick the profile, because you get you in the marbles a few times, you start profiling.
Yeah.
But
very important if you're a male that you learn to catch them from the profile. So now you see her starting to pull a little bit. Scott's working her, making sure she's got something to do. So you give a little and you take a little. You give a little and you take a little. And all of that is to encourage them to, again, put those front feet on the ground when they're on the ground and pull, and on the man when he pulls them up. The whole purpose, of course, is, like I said, to soften up whoever they're taking hold of. So that's the one thing. But the big thing with this video is we're teaching dogs they can go downstairs, they can go upstairs. Someone can try to kick him in the jaws, and you saw her as he's raising his legs. She'll learn, just like a good boxer, to slip the jabs and go for the hooks and the crosses. So
and it's not the same thing as a knee to the chest. That's not what we do. I don't want to see that ever on any dogs. You're not knee chesting them. On the bite, they're starting to kick and kick. So when they're coming around, you actually start, before she did any leg bites, working on the sleeve. Mm-hmm. When I'm bringing her up, and as I'm coming down and starting to bring, I'll go to sweep her leg. Start sweeping. She starts dancing, or side to side, like you like to call it, where the dogs are, they're dodging.
Right.
Now you can incorporate the leg bite with that. So now they have both options: either how to dance around it, dodge it, and go bite it.
Right, exactly. So, I mean, literally, we're teaching, as we like to say, canine martial arts here, artist. So now this is
Bruce Leroy.
This is old Big Bullet. He's he's very experienced, but he's been gone for a while. He came back to do a little bit of work. And this is Joey, one of our newer agitators. And now Bullet is, again, you see the feet, and you see how when he pulls him up his body, see how he uses those paws to push away from the man. Again, if you were facing frontal like he is right now, those paws would be right in your stomach or your personals.
They must feel good on his legs.
Yeah, personals are always more fun for the people watching. But now this is where Bullet's a little over 100-pound dog, and he's got 4 on the floor. You, as a human, have 2.
You're gonna get him pulling right there.
And if this was not you see, again, he puts those feet up, he uses them, and Joey had, scratch marks all down his legs from those paws.
Well, Joey's 6'1", he's not a small fellow.
Oh, that's true, yeah, big guy.
That dog's moving around, yeah. And Bullet's a pretty strong character himself, so.
Yeah, so.
Very strong, actually.
Yeah, so why do we want them to pull? Well, if well, the main thing a man can do if the dog's on his upper body is grab him with whatever arm is free. If this dog is pulling away, and I've seen some of the good police canines, I've seen some videos with them, boy, after they get hold of somebody, they just literally dragging the person backwards. When they're pulling this stuff and you're not wearing a sleeve and you don't know what you're doing, you're going on the ground. If you're going on the ground, you cannot grab this dog's collar. You cannot pick up a brick and hit the dog in the head with it. It's just the absolute safest way for a dog to work a man, especially if the dog is, a guard dog by themselves for 8 or 10 hours with this person.
Okay, take that back, Carol.
You can see it full mouth bite if that's.
Absolutely. Take that back.
Where?
Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Go back. Go back. Go back. Go back. Right. Keep going. Right there. Now stop. Now I want you guys to watch the leash work that the handler's doing with this dog. There is no slack. The dog is fully engaged and knows exactly where his handler wants out of him, and he does not disengage at all. Just watch the leash work on this when she's working back and forth. Look at the taut leash. The leash is always taut. Always taut. The only time it goes loose is at the end. But look at that. That's beautiful. Right there where he lets go of the sleeve. Mm-hmm. But there's always control going on. Just like they're dancing the symphony,
That's ideal every time.
That's perfect. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're going to get some slack here and there, but the way she's working that dog right there is,
And this is where, those are techniques that our guards with our patrol guards with their dogs. This is the type of leash work we teach them, and it makes a huge difference in how your dog engages when he feels you working with him like that.
Mm-hmm.
You see that eye contact he's got with Joey?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, can you zoom in on that?
I think you kind of staring down.
Is that one where can you see him looking at him, Troy?
Yeah.
Oh, he's staring down pretty good.
Then there's all right. I hear people all the time talking about dogs got a good bite, bad bite, no drive, 4-wheel drive, whatever. One of the things I'm looking for in a guard dog is just that eye contact. I don't want, if you're worried about a sleeve happy dog, this is how you really know if your dog's sleeve happy or not. This dog is looking at that man. That means in his mind he's fighting the man.
it's a challenge.
The sleeve is just something he can use to beat the man.
Competition wise.
Yeah,
He wants
yeah,
to win.
yeah.
I've always noticed that about Bullet, though. He's always been intense.
He's what?
He's always been intense.
Oh yeah,
He's
yeah.
I mean,
He's
every time.
yeah. This is his thing in life.
Yeah.
But for those of you, if you're worried about your dog being sleeve happy or equipment oriented or whatever you want to call it, sack happy, watch his eyes when he's working. I see a lot of these videos, especially with some of the males. They're biting that sleeve and they literally are closing their eyes and just kind of, the sleeve's like a pacifier to them.
Their eyes are wide open
Yeah, yeah.
and they're looking around.
Yeah, or they're looking all the way around and seeing other stuff and hearing everything that moves. This dog is fighting that man. There's no doubt that's what he has in mind. And if Joey were to swing around with that other hand, you notice we're not coming over doing a lot of fancy stick hits. It's because he would lose that arm with the stick, and then I'd charge him $14.95 to replace my stick. So that's the main difference is that when we're working protection dogs. For those of you that want to do a more personal protection oriented type dog, these are some of the things that you're going to be working towards with your dogs when you're training them. So it's not a matter of it's not just 1, 2, 3. It's a process. You're literally creating or teaching a martial art to that dog.
But you have to be involved with it and be on the leash end of it too.
Yes.
You
yes.
got to be part of it.
Yep. And
There's off leash work, but personal protection dogs are usually on a leash.
Yeah, I would say 85, 90% of the time they're going to be on a leash, you know,
So, you know, this.
if somebody breaks
But
into
you
your
can
house.
build a bond too with your dog when you're working with him. When you work together, whatever you do, whether it's, you know, sport or whatever, or obstacle races or walking, bite work, you're building something there together.
Well, you, even basic walking them down the street
Yeah.
with your lead work, I mean, it comes down to that, doesn't it?
Exactly.
That's where it all starts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
the basics, right?
Because if you think about it, you always have the dogs 90% of the time is on the leash. When you're going somewhere in public or you're going for a walk, there's occasions and there's some, you know, you can take them off leash.
Yeah.
But if you're living in the country or even then, but if you're living in the city and there's people walking around all these parks, you really don't want your dog off a leash.
No.
It ain't the dog I'm worried about, you know.
Right.
But and there's laws and everything else, and
And it's a good way to get him run over, too.
you start getting building bonds, you know, and just walking, you know, experiences, and then you start learning how to handle your dog can perform better for you also.
Yeah, that's the biggest point right there, folks.
Yep.
Bullet and Carrie are a team. And that dog's working with her. Watch the semantics here. I didn't say for her. I didn't say she was the alpha. I said they're a team and he's working with her. So these are the things that you do to enhance the dog's desire to do even better. And just like us, it's no different. You know, coach gets the football team going, go do this, go do that, and the cheerleaders go sis boom ba, and the boys go wow, 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 and they go out and win a game.
You know, you're definitely gonna say it's a team. We were trying to do a slingshot with Traveler, my dog.
Uh-huh.
And you know, I can't pull, I don't have the two hands to pull her back, so Joey was handling her, but before we started, I needed her to down, and he tried to make her sit and down, and she just looked at him like, you know, I'm not listening.
I don't know
to
you, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
And I was standing right next to him, and I told her, and she did it immediately,
Mm-hmm,
and then I gave the alert command.
mm-hmm,
It's great.
yeah.
Well, you mentioned semantics. Every interview and every kind of story I've seen about either police canine handlers or military canine handlers, they never talk about being, you know, they say I'm appreciative to work with this dog, or I'm lucky to have him working with me and him living with me. I mean, you're right. It's never about being over him or anything.
That's the whole mindset. See,
Yeah.
when someone comes to me and says I want it to do something, I really don't appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's not an it.
It's not a command thing.
It's not an it.
a force thing.
You pay for it at all, but it should be your partner, your friend, part of your family. You know, it's not it's a dog. It's a dog. It's just part of his job. Well, that's not a good way of doing things. There are dogs that are made for like a junkyard dog. A dog, it's a dog. It's doing its job, but it's still.
Right.
You know, you got to incorporate. I think if you incorporate the dog into your life more, even doing this kind of work right here, it builds and everything goes so much smoother.
Yeah.
The dog wants to do it for you, with you,
Yeah.
for you, to please you.
Right.
You know, but it's a mutual thing because you're both getting something out of it.
Yeah, and no one does a good job at something that they just got to do.
No, you got to want them to do it.
And guard dogs, one reason there's a lot of little things like the feet leading into them, the little things that I've seen over the years with the guard dogs. That was my like doctorate in dog, was when I started running that big company in El Paso. If you're not working, or when you are working with that dog, they do a whole lot more. The guard dogs are working by themselves. The good guard dogs, and I had a lot of them that were just bluffs. You know, they might bite somebody, but I knew they'd bark.
And sometimes that's all you need.
Yeah, exactly.
We had that one video a few years back on the type of dogs. You know, you had your alert dogs, your smaller dogs. You had your bluff dogs, and you had your man stalkers. Remember that? So we had the video out there, but it just goes to the breeds and size of dog, and even some of the bigger dogs were bluff dogs.
But
Yeah,
But the
yeah.
people who don't know,
If you don't know,
Right.
they don't know.
Right.
I mean, think about it. You take your dog somewhere, and you get people look at you like that dog looks mean. Your dog's just chilling. He looks good-looking dogs, right? But just the fact of having a dog in their presence is intimidating. So just one barking at you would be even more intimidating.
Exactly. And what All right, so like I said, in El Paso, we had professional, I mean, thievery was a family business, you know. People in Juarez routinely, since I think the town was founded.
Steal horses and cattle way back in.
Yeah, back in 1868 or 69, when the town really got to going. The bloodiest town in America, by the way. I didn't know that till recently. But Dodge City didn't have nothing on El Paso for shooting up people. You know, it was a rough town. And, you know, the people from Old Mexico came over. There was no border to guards or anything. They just came across. And they made a living robbing from the gringos. You know? That's what they did. And today, there's been alarms that go off. My dogs are barking, and I pull up to sites, and I have, on more than one occasion, seen a car parked outside the building or yard that's being robbed. I see the thief inside the yard doing the robbing, and he's a 12-year-old kid, and his parents are waiting in the car. And they got that's you know, it's life on the border. They get the kid, or they got a ladder, and they get the ladder up, and the kid climbs over. Then they throw the ladder over. The kid goes out and starts grabbing up, and he's getting copper or whatever. And then he comes, but it's a family business. And when this kid grows up, his kids are going to do it. And the one thing that I learned is professionals, the last thing they want is noise. You got a dog who really bellows and barks, they're going to go somewhere else.
A deterrent.
Yeah, it's why even take a chance? It's just, especially if you're stealing in some industrial area with building after business. So the type of dogs that you have in a guard dog company are going to vary. Then you have the situation where business partners, this is where you got to watch it, or the worst case scenario is husband and wife had a business, now they're getting a divorce. This is the case where the judge, they get together for a final separation of the stuff before the divorce and before everything gets finished. They say, until all the legal matters are settled, they turn to the wife and they say, we're going to give you, you're taking care of the business, and your husband has to stay away. He gets mad. He don't like that. She gets a guard dog. This is when someone will take the extra effort, not give a damn about the noise of the dog barking. They're going to get in there. They're going to screw up the business or the partner or the wife or whatever. This is where you need a dog that's a man stopper. Period. So you're going to run the gamut in the guard dog business. That's why I said it was my doctorate's degree. So I didn't mean to get off on a tangent on that, but everything you're doing has a purpose. And the dogs that make good guard dogs will usually make excellent patrol dogs, but sometimes they're just too, you know, I had two kinds of dogs that would really bite. I had dogs like, I talk about Cuz a lot. He was a little, he was about a 50-pound mix. He's ugly. He was merle, blue merle, like a blue heeler, but he had wire hair like an Airedale, and he had a lot of hair shaggy around his face, and he had a tail that went up and curled over his back, and I think it was solid black. This was an ugly dog. This dog loved to chase things down and bite them. There's nothing he loved more than chasing, I don't care what it was, if it was a ball you threw, a rabbit that came by, or you running through his yard. If you were removing it more than a walk, this dog he'd nail you. He would nail you. So then there's dogs like Rika and Samson. These were dogs that had been, in their minds, mistreated by some humans. Those two were both Rotties, and they were Rottweilers. They just ain't gonna take that shit.
Well, they're antisocial at that point, right? If they're being mistreated by humans,
No, they weren't. They weren't social for shit. I could tell you. I could tell you more Samson stories about people who thought they were buddying up to that dog. Samson, Rika belonged to a lady, and her boyfriend said, "Get rid of him." Her future fiance, who I discovered 2 years later was using her for a punching bag on the side, which is probably why I wanted her to get rid of Rika. Rika hated men. Hated men. I never touched that dog. I had a little 60-year-old Mexican lady who cleaned the kennels. She moved Rika in and out. He wagged his tail when he so loved her to death. Hated men. And he would dismember a man. So I didn't mean to get off all this guard dog stuff, but that's the difference of the kind of dogs that you work with in that industry. So it's a full range. It's not just I need a dog to do a full mouth bite and turn loose when I tell him. Full mouth bite, send him down the road. Full mouth bite, turn loose when I tell you. No, it's a lot more complicated. And those same skills, things that I learned about how dogs fight, are what a personal protection dog needs to be trained for. Because think about it. Yeah, the guard dogs were taking care of bad guys maybe for 3 or 4 hours. But if someone breaks into your house and there's just your wife there, do you want that dog subduing that person? Or do you want your wife having to go up and expose herself? So it's the same thing. The dog's still, personal protection dog in many cases is going to have to take care of the human. So to that score, we have tools, right?
Yeah.
Everyone knows the whip, right?
The whip.
Yeehaw! Whoops, wait a minute. I don't want to turn Carol Ann on. I better put this one
Give it to me
over
then.
We need to beat up.
I'll be-
Beat up, right?
Oh, Lord. Whoa.
Where's my coffee?
Watch.
it'll be in your lap.
So that gets you guys' attention, right?
Yeah.
That gets you guys' attention, so it's a good tool to start training dogs, get their attention. Looking off, not doing nothing, so you, hey dog, come on. Dog comes up, you get his attention, you make eye contact, and you start working that dog.
That's the purpose
very-
of the
Do
whip.
it one more time.
Huh?
Go
You want to pop it again?
There you go.
You
You
know,
get the pop on the.
Yeah.
What's the pop look like on a video camera? I never thought about
You're
that.
not gonna see it.
it's like you ever see a falling star? And it gets, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. So it's like Scott said, your whip you're going to use because it's going to get that it's going to startle him and get his attention. He's going to look, and you're going to time this, or your agitator's going to time the whip that he pops with the command you give the dog. So you're going to say, watch him, sick him, get him, pock him, whatever.
Yep.
At that time, your agitator is going to
It's the
pop
whip.
that whip.
Right. Go ahead.
So your dog learns when he hears that command, boom, something's going on. Now you're getting a dog who does a powerful alert on a command.
Right, and this also can be used as a stick over the head. You tap the dog, and you can see it's very flexible, doesn't hurt.
Yeah, these are padded.
These are padded sticks, they're not hard sticks. They're working over your dog and start, but it's primarily for noise. So you start doing that with this, you start working over him to the side, you touch him, and you get him during the bite so he doesn't let go or starts squinting his eyes, and he just does, all of a sudden he's immune to this. He doesn't even know it's there. You can tap him with it, go over his head, or hurt him. They don't know it's there, right?
Right, and what you're doing when you're starting to tap them with this whip is you're moving them from all prey drive to being a little defensive. Damn, what just hit me? Ooh, will he stay in the fight?
Fight or flight, right?
Yeah, fight or flight. So if you're gonna have a personal protection dog, you've got to work in defense. Prey drive will give you a full mouth bite, it'll give you confidence, make them chase the guy down. But defense drive is when they bite the hardest. And like I said, you don't want a dog just holding on to something. You want him crushing it. So you start with this whip, with this padded whip, with these little taps. But this is where, now this is a French ring tool. And those good ring decoys, they're amazing. They can make this look like a 4-foot wall and noisy. Because its design or its purpose is to intimidate. So what I started doing was we use the stick hits when we get the dog starting to bite. Scott will work him over one side, this side. Then when we've got a dog who's confident in his bite, goes forward and really works and pulls and he's eyeballing that man, now we want to switch him into defense so we can start building the intensity of the bite and how hard they're biting. That's where that comes in. Instead of tapping them with this little thing that makes a thump sound, we're going to bring this stick and we're going to bring it up with on the bite, on the leg or the shoulder, wherever they're at, and we're going to
Start making noise.
Huh?
Start making noise.
Yep. And that noise right there will startle and intimidate.
Does that snap them out of their focus?
Snap, right.
That or pisses them off.
And that's it. We want it to piss them off. What do you, don't interfere with me, Jack.
So if you can put pressure like that, you're putting pressure what you're doing. The noise, the clattering, the movement of the stick, everything, it's just a whole totally different situation, right in your face. So you're actually adding pressure. And it make you mad. And it gets you going. And you know, it's a way for, in real life, if something happens or something going on, no matter what's going on, that dog needs to be focused on what's going on. You know, that's
Sharpening your focus.
Right,
you're putting pressure on. It's add pressure. So you're always building pressure. The higher you go, the more pressure you put on, right? You want to break the dog, but you want to put pressure. You got to put pressure on him.
Right.
That's how he reacts, and you can go from there, evaluate, and go back to, okay, so we got to, maybe back it down a little bit, or we got to pick it up a little more, or we got to work on this or work on that because of.
So that's real world stuff.
Yeah. And when you rattle it here for the first time, he's going to go, that's coming, whatever. That's trying to get me. I'm not good, but I'm not quitting my fight. I'm not giving up my prize, and he'll bite down harder. And you just you enhance it until you're using this for the stick hits. You start with that, and you work up to.
So you really piss them off.
And and then this dog is sticking, and every time you tap him, he bites harder and harder and harder.
Okay. I've always wondered that ever since I've been coming here, how you ease them into that.
Right.
And that makes a lot of sense. So.
Yep. So that's how we use these tools in the guard dog business, or personal protection, or if I'm doing a patrol dog for somebody.
You can even go as far as, done with that, you want to even go a different story, you get a jug and you fill it with marbles. 30, and you rattle the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And that whole jug, the echoing and the jug movement, everything. There's so many different ways to elevate,
Oh yeah.
Chaos.
Yeah.
just to elevate the pressure and see, cans, buckets, just throwing shit at them. There's all kinds of ways as you're building these dogs to get what we need to be a
And as you're
protector.
building them, there's also different scenarios that we do with them.
Well,
We
yeah.
just don't
Of
train
course.
them on the
Of
ground, we
course.
train them around the car, we train them to go after
Yeah,
the
that's
guy.
that's understood.
Yeah.
But when you start implementing the scenarios and the tools, and it's all a whole building. I have enough. I'm lucky enough to be building big commercial buildings, right? And I bring dogs out there. I'm talking, Dallas Cowboy Stadium, but I'm not talking about what they are. But big enough so I can bring the animals in there. So there's sky tracks moving, there's saws going, there's people chipping hammers.
That's a
There-
loud environment.
There's a lot. It's very, and I have privileged to be working with these gentlemen, these general contractors that allow me to bring my dogs on site whenever I want to, with their permission, and we bring the dogs out.
And he's got good dogs, and ain't nothing bothers him.
They go out there, and it's just the way it is. I mean, and you can go to a supermarket if you want, but I'll give you a test for your dog if you want one.
Bring
but-
it to a genuine.
But no, when they go through that,
Yeah.
this stuff shouldn't bother, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of AT&T Stadium? if you have, oh, by the way, you can watch the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight tomorrow at the AT&T Stadium, and this is the guy who put all the bricks together. So he gets to find a lot of noise for his dogs, a lot of noise, and that's what it
It's a lot of
takes.
big equipment moving around.
Yeah, and we act-
That didn't phase them.
Nothing. No, we actually work them in the buildings, and I got a building. I'm doing a school right now, and we've already got it set up here. In the next few weeks, we're going to be taking dogs that are work them in the building. Have decoys hiding in the rooms. It's a school, big high school.
But before you get all gung ho and start, because I've noticed more and more people talking about scenario training lately. When your dog is solid, that's when you start the scenario training. First, they've got to learn their skill.
Well, that's advanced, bro.
Yeah, and think of it this way. The training is like Tyson or Jake Paul getting ready for the fight. That's when they're sharpening their jabs, making sure their hooks are good. When they step in the ring, that's like scenario training. When your training is sharp and you're at your peak and your dog's the most confident, that's when you start setting up some scenarios.
Tested, yeah.
Because like Mike Tyson said, the hard work's over now. The fun's Friday night.
Fun starting, yeah.
You know, all the work.
that's-
You put all the work in. Now it's time for some
Good
fun.
way to put it, yeah, it really is.
Go see what it's game night. That's what
Yep.
Yep.
playing ball's about.
So,
You
but
work all week long, go see what you can do on the end of the week.
but yeah, those tools are very important, and I'm glad we got them.
Hope there's something valuable for somebody in all this stuff. I didn't mean to get carried away with the guard dog stuff. What?
I learned a lot.
No, it's good. It's good. No, it's good to expose people to something they've never seen before because you're coming from a totally different environment and implementing into a personal protection dog, which a lot of people think they know how to train them, but you've seen stuff and done stuff, and we're implementing that makes it better personal protection dog.
Yeah,
and
hopefully.
hopefully helping somebody out and saving some people and
That's the
not
goal.
having to use your dog. You know.
Right, that's why we're here. So
Yep.
hopefully, like I said, I didn't
It was awesome.
been too many years and
Yeah.
bore you too much, and then we'll come up with something even fancier for next week.
Yeah.
Till then,
Just remember, it's all about the dogs, right?
let's go.
See y'all later.
See y'all.